And then as an inner skill, I used to teach martial arts, and my teacher and I taught a one-day self-defense course, not for people who were lifelong martial artists, but people who really wanted to get trained in a day. How best can I defend myself? And we finally came to the conclusion that the single most important thing you could do is, once you realize you're in a dangerous situation, take a breath and lower your center 1 inch. Because that changes the way you see, the way you breathe, the decisions you make, and so forth. Then various techniques and strategies and so forth can come in. And I wanted to give you something simple for this one also. If you feel yourself starting to get triggered, and this happens to me still so often, that, the adrenaline starts up, your heart starts to pump just because of somebody saying something. Now you're anticipating, am I getting in this conversation or not? What's their reaction? As soon as you feel that, just take a breath. Realize you don't have to rush it. It's not a great place to speak from. So imagine a point of light at your center. Let your body fully relax and take a breath. And then just listen. Keep listening until you know it's time for you to speak. And when it's time for you to speak, it might be that you want to say, well, maybe this isn't the right time for that conversation. Or if we're going to have that conversation now, how about if we set up some ground rules so that we can really optimize our chances of success, of having this conversation really, really well, or something like that. So understand that it's an absolutely natural response. It's the fight or flight thing coming up because you care about the situation. And not only do you want successful conversations for your relationships, but as Kimberly says, one of the reasons why we're so charged around all of this these days is that these are life and death conversations. It's why we care so much. If somebody insists on shutting you up so that we can become a communist police state that can drag you out of your home by your hair and inject you with whatever, torture you. This is very real stuff. And all we're asking for is to be let alone and to be free to speak the possibility of freedom so that nobody has to go through that sort of suffering. So that's my 2 cents on that for now. Kimberly, do you have another one?
Yeah, well, I do. I have a question I want to address, but also I want to say something that I've learned in having a successful personal relationship in our marriage, which applies, I think, in all of this, which is I've learned that if I get in touch with my sadness or my fear, so my first reaction is to get pissed off at something. And when I'm mad, if I say I'm really pissed off about whatever, it's never what, and Foster's super skilled in interacting. All that teaching he did really paid off, and he's embodied it, and he's a very skilled partner. But anyway, if I'm pissed off and I come at it, I will never get the level of resolution or connection as if I wait to find out, okay, so under my anger, there's sadness, and under my sadness, there's some fear. If I can wait to be in touch with my sadness or my fear and speak from that, it is 100% guaranteed to be a better conversation and to actually get me closer to what I want, which is to be heard and to have a response, that the thing that's pissing me off doesn't keep happening. And it's the same way in these other conversations. If I speak from, I love you, I know you're a smart person out there and that you care, we all care. And we all want the best for the most people on the planet, and we have different ideas about how to get there. This is really challenging me because I feel afraid. I feel really afraid right now, and I want to come up with a way to have a conversation that works. So can we do this? Like, can we speak from that level of vulnerability and our fear and our sadness? Because as soon as we come at it with the anger or the incredulous kind of like, how could you think this, or what happened, I felt that way about, like, with my kids, like when I said, oh my God, I've been co-parenting with the state, they brainwashed my kids or whatever, instead of I have smart, thoughtful, wonderful kids. And we really are believing different sources of information, and I'm afraid of what's going to happen from that. So how can we get to the bottom line, which is that we don't coerce each other? Because if I say, look, if you get to coerce me, then the next time I get to coerce you, then you coerce me, I coerce you. We will end up in a world war. That's all that ever results from coercion. And we've already tried that. Human civilization has done its best to work out coercion in one form or another our whole time. And now we're suggesting something different. And I think that I have experienced more openness to that than anything else. And in terms of, Chris asked, what about meditating and praying before having a conversation? I 100% go for that. I actually sometimes will carry something around with me that embodies the prayer that I've made, to be my highest self, to speak from a vulnerable, open heart about what's motivating my passion in this, and to have it be something I can just either put my hand in my pocket and feel it and remember, or that just has helped me. It really helped me. I did that before that one really challenging conversation, and I felt really grateful that I could stay in my heart and stay open and non-reactive. And I've never regretted being kind. I have just never regretted that. Even if I felt like, oh, I could have given more information. It's like, you know what? The example of me believing what I believe and staying centered and kind and open is worth a lot. And I have had many more subsequent questions come my way as a result of that than if I somehow get out my latest, little fact card.